Last Dog Standing is a combination of natural terrain and man-made obstacles. Probably one of the most notorious man-made sections is Tire Mountain behind me. This is a section that's so difficult, really only the very, very elite riders can make it up to the top on their own. For the rest of the pack, they team up. They'll have one rider helping another as they get from one level to the other. But there are some guys, Cody Webb, Alfredo Gomez, they can go up all by themselves because they don't want to be indebted to anyone else.
This is the AOMC Prairie Dogs MC, Last Dog Standing, presented by Kenda Tires, one of America's few truly extreme enduro races for dirt bike riders. Jason Wygant and Ron Lawson here to give you the call. We had a previous episode of the show where the course was very tough, but it's only going to be tougher as only the best are able to even qualify and race the final stages of this event. And yes, even for the best riders, just getting through the obstacles and to the finish line is really the entire race. Going fast, that's not even the goal here when a track is this tough. And the man-made obstacles, they might be the most difficult of all. Let's talk to some of the riders about their strategies.
The tires got me a little nervous. I didn't do the event when they had them, so this will be my first time doing them. And I think I got a plan.
Probably the tire mountain. Everyone talks about the tire mountain, so let's see.
Definitely not rideable, which kind of stinks. It would be cool if it was like, you know, on the verge of rideable or not rideable, but
rubber on rubber doesn't work. Like, that's not traction. You come right through a water section right before it, which is extra worse. I don't believe anyone's like fully just like ridden up the thing, so it ends up being just kind of like a bit of a CrossFit competition out there. You go and you ride your bike up it, then you deadlift it up, you push it up to the top, then you ride up to the next one, then you deadlift it up. So I don't know, it's like the CrossFit games over the Tire Mountain.
you know, hey, we're gonna go try it and see what we can do. And then I'm not sure. It's always a surprise out there, so we'll see what we get.
A lot of the obstacles in Last Dog Standing require extreme skill. Some of them, they're just about random luck. We're here in the bridge. This is the infamous bridge where they'll have sprinklers going once the race starts. And then the riders will come up the stairs, and then they have to deal with hanging tires, which will grab their handlebars and jerk the bikes right out of their hands. It's not an extreme skill section, but it is one that provides a lot of comedy.
We'll take it any way we can get it. So let's go racing here in the final stages of Last Dog Standing. And these are the top two riders in the racing earlier today. So they will start up front. Colton Haker, the American, and Alfredo Gomez out of Spain. And it's wheel to wheel early on.
These guys are actually teammates. They got involved with a little controversy earlier in the year in Europe when Alfredo actually helped Colton Haker win the World Super Enduro Championship.
Yeah, that's indoor enduro racing, but here they're up against the man-made obstacles and Mother Nature. Second row will be Tristan Hart, and then Ty Collins on the blue TM, and it looks like Haker up front ahead of Gomez. It's all on the motocross track, but here comes that bridge, and you see some of the water laid down now, and Haker's starting to get wet. Boy, he's quick through the tires, though.
Yeah, he knows what to expect now.
Dustin McCarthy and Max Gersten taking off as the two leaders, Haker and Gomez, work their way through the tires. So Haker, little bit of a lead early. And as we've been talking about from the early stages of this race and then coming through to now, a lot warmer temperatures than most of the riders generally deal with in this type of racing. It's only going to make it tougher. Jacob Argybright and Grayson Gonsalves just took off. Gersten working his way through the bridge.
We're in the heat of the day now, so these sprinklers probably feel good.
That's right. Gonna take it wherever you can get it. Rich Larson and Dalton Shirey about to take off, and they do. It's the Talladega first turn of the Glen Helen motocross track. Leading them to the bridge and then into the more traditional off-road sections. Gersten making his way through.
Now this is the only time that they'll be together. They're side by side off the start, and then they're wheel to wheel once they get to that bridge.
Will Riordan and Mason Klein taking off. And you don't see necessarily that much intensity to try to lead the other rider, because really the race will be decided in the very difficult enduro off-road sections. The motocross track, you can gain or lose a second or two, but that's not really going to be the key to the race when you can gain and lose minutes in the more difficult sections. Riders working their way off of the bridge. David Camo and Ryan Govea taking off.
Ryan Govea is actually a Hawaiian rider that's been in this event before. He's actually made it to the finish.
Yeah, and that is an accomplishment unlike most racing in and of itself, just making it through. There you see what happens. The tires grab the motorcycle, and how difficult that can be. More riders taking off.
It's pretty important probably to these guys right now to get the edge on the guy next to them, but it's not going to matter later on.
Colton Haker has led pretty much every time he's been on the racetrack today. He's trying to handle what will be the toughest terrain of all. It's Last Dog Standing 3, the finale of this event. So far, so good for Colton.
The weapon of choice in Extreme Enduro is the 300 two-stroke. That's unlike most other forms of competition where 4 strokes rule. This particular example is a 300 KTM prepared by the factory. Preparation is critical, with everything from special levers to specially prepared foot pegs. It's all designed to be as crash-proof as possible, so the bike can make it to the end of an Extreme Enduro. The rest is up to the rider.
Yes, this is an Extreme Enduro, the Last Dog Standing presented by Kenda, and just getting to the finish line physically, mechanically, and heck, mentally is the challenge. In most racing, it's all about who's fastest, but here, really, it's just about who can make it to the finish. Colton Haker leading the race early over Alfredo Gomez. Riders working their way through the single track. They started the motocross course. They worked their way through this bridge, which is lined with old tires. They try to grab the motorcycle. They have sprinklers going to make it a little bit even more slippery and more treacherous. But it's really after this when they get to the more traditional off-road type terrain where you're going to see more separation with the riders. And Haker's on the gas right now.
Right now, he's all about who's behind him. He's in the lead, but he knows that Alfredo's behind him, and Alfredo's coming strong in his type of terrain.
Back to the starting line we go with James Flynn and Zach Spano taking off on the motocross track into the Glen Helen Talladega first turn. There's Gomez in the number 2 spot, trying to keep Haker honest and maybe hoping that when they get to some of the sections where the riders have to stop or get stuck to pull the motorcycle, see if he can make some of the ground back up on the leader.
This part of the course is called the chute. They go down it, and it unloads into the worst rocks and chaos you can imagine. Just getting to the bottom in one piece is an accomplishment.
Phillips and Hall taking off there. Here's Tristan Hart, the Canadian rider. Yeah, as we saw in the first half of this race, even the downhills are difficult. Shout out to Morgan Tanky here. We believe that's the first female to ever even qualify to make it into this final leg, the Last Dog Standing 3. She did a great job at Last Dog Standing 2 earlier today to get through. We're on board at Max Gersten, opening it up in one of the higher speed sections of the track.
Yeah, they're on a big, fast fire road, and then there's a big change-up when they hit that chute. They're going straight down into rocks, and it's a completely different speed.
And now we've got it. Gomez has caught Haker. Haker has gotten stuck, and the battle for the lead is on.
Yeah, this is kind of a slow motion battle for the lead as they come up Pete's Falls, which is just one rock ledge after another.
And other riders still just taking off, Scheftel and Jarman.
It's all smiles and happiness on the start.
Yes.
As if they don't know what's coming, but they'll get there soon enough.
Well, this is some of the best in the world duking it out, and now Gomez in this slow motion battle has, I guess we could say, taken the lead, at least for the moment. See if Haker could try to fight back. Just trying to clear these obstacles. It's a wheel-to-wheel battle for the number 1 spot through the rocks.
Oh, back to the bridge. It looks like we've got a little traffic inside.
Here's Tanky, the female racer, over the bridge and about to hit the more difficult terrain. And for her, if she can finish this one, that would be one heck of an accomplishment. I believe we're on board. Yeah, it's Gersten here. Ty Cullen's on his left. So we have battles right now in these difficult sections.
You got to keep in mind, there's a lot of poison oak in these canyons. There's a lot of plants with thorns. It's not just rocks, and it's 100 degrees. It's tough.
No, and if someone with the talent and skill of Gersten needs people to come and help him through a section, well, that means it really cannot get much tougher. But Alfredo Gomez might be the best in the world at riding this type of terrain, and he's showing it right now, battling with Colton Haker for the lead at Last Dog Standing. AMA District 37 is comprised of 20 active clubs that host off-road races ranging from desert races to Grand Prix racing in the Southern California desert, as well as on closed courses in Southern California. These races offer something for riders of all skill levels, from beginners to pros, so go to district37ama.org for more info. This is Last Dog Standing, one of the most extreme events in all of American dirt bike racing. And the battle for the lead is on with Alfredo Gomez, who has taken the #1 spot away from his Rockstar Energy Husqvarna teammate, Colton Haker. Gomez working his way down a nearly vertical downhill. Well, this is why Gomez is known as one of the best in the world at this type of riding. Haker was fast. He won Last Dog Standing 2, which was a little bit easier version of this course earlier today. But as it gets tougher and tougher, Gomez seems to be thriving.
Colton, in his own right, is an amazingly talented rider. It's just amazing to watch him do some of the things he can do. But when it comes to natural terrain, I think that Alfredo Gomez is on a different level.
And he's showing it right now. We're back on board now at Max Gersten, trying to get through the downhill. And as I've said over and over, when even the downhills are tough, you can imagine how difficult the uphills are going to be, and there'll be plenty of those on this course as well. Gersten able to survive it.
He made that look pretty easy. I'll guarantee you it's not.
Gomez showing you how it's done another canyon downhill. Dustin McCarthy. Oh, and that gives you an idea just how brutal this event is on the motorcycles. Bike got dragged through there. Hope the bike's okay. And then everyone else gonna have to wait.
You can hear the metal scraping on rock. It's so hard on machinery.
Yeah. Haker in the downhill in hot pursuit of Gomez, the leader. Gersten will be coming through next.
Momentum is the secret to everything in this race. Once you start going too slow, everything takes more strength and it's more difficult.
Argued by the Desert Racer to the bottom of that first downhill. Oh, and here is the Kenda Tire Mountain, which all the riders were telling us at the top of this show, it's very difficult to do solo without any other riders around. It gets so tough, a lot of times the riders will help each other. And here's your battle. Gomez trying to get to the top. And second place, Haker is right there.
Well, Gomez didn't waste much time there.
No.
So now it's up to Colton to see if he can do it as quickly.
Can he get any traction? Oh, beautiful job by Haker. Oh, no. Oh, it just came undone. One, I don't even want to call it a mistake, just the line choice worked against him. James Flynn trying to get to the bottom of this canyon downhill.
Jason, you can only imagine how much strength this takes. It's all comes out of the same fuel tank. It's stuff you're going to need later.
That's right, and it is extremely hot, and this is the second stage of a race. They already did a lot of this riding earlier today, so fatigue is going to be a huge factor. Gomez is going to briefly pop back onto the motocross track and then head back out of it. But right now he's leading and has saved a lot of that energy.
He's come down the hill. Now he's got a chance to look up and see what he's got to go up. It's a chance to kind of assess your lines and go right back to work.
Uh-oh. And he's gotten stuck. Like we said, those steep downhills are going to be contrasted with the steep uphills. Gomez, one of the best in the business at this, and even he is struggling. Can he make it? Oh, just keeps it going. Trying to maintain the lead. Who will be the last dog standing? Alfredo Gomez. That's the best. And even he's having a tough time. It's the last dog standing presented by Kenda AOMC and Prairie Dogs MC, help putting this event together. One of the most extreme enduro events in the United States. It's been a battle between Alfredo Gomez and Colton Haker. Gomez starting to pull away. Hard to believe when you see that he's barely even moving on this very difficult track. But in this event, even going 1 mile an hour is a huge advantage over everyone else who is often stuck, especially right here on this Kenda tire wall.
At this stage of the event, there's stuff happening everywhere in Glen Helen. You've got these guys stuck on Tire Mountain. There's stuff on the West Ridge. There's some more riders on the East Ridge. You never know quite where the biggest action is erupting. But Tire Mountain is always a hot spot.
Yeah, and now enough riders piling up on that tire wall where they have to wait for each other or potentially even help each other. Haker trying to get up this big mountain. Oh, can he keep it going? It looked like at one point he was going quickly enough to maybe make up ground on Gomez, but he has lost it now. Can he even get to the top? This is incredible.
I think a lot of riders at this point would just turn around and start over. He's going to keep going.
Tristan Hart has caught up to Max Gersten. I believe this would be the battle for third and fourth. Gersten gets to the top of the mountain. Hart has gotten it stuck. Gonna take another shot at it. And he's just got to manually lift the bike to the top. He does it. Man, was that tough. Is this still Colton struggling? It is.
No, yeah, he didn't start over. He's still in the same spot, but it looks like he's making a little progress. Colton's just not a quitter. He's going to make it work from right there, I think.
No, he is the determined sort, but it is incredible at the bottom of this hill. It looked like he had a good pace and was able to maybe even make up ground on the leader, and now it's worked completely against him, but the persistence pays off. Colton Haker finally to the top. And his reward for that is more climbing. Other riders going downhill. As we saw earlier, at this point, you're just trying to preserve your machine and not toss it down on the rocks.
The bikes take such a beating. You know, manufacturers now, when they give us test bikes, they sometimes stipulate no last dog standing, and I don't blame them.
Ty Collins is the rider toward the top of this Kenda Mountain on that blue TM. Other riders trying to catch him, like Dustin McCarthy. Some of the slowest battles you'll ever see in racing because these sections are this tough. Some of the best riders in the world you're seeing struggling, including Alfredo Gomez, the Spaniard who is leading this race, just trying to get to the top of this hill.
This is just a vertical slot where he's at right now. You have a footing on each side of the bike, but you have to grab it by the handlebars and almost lift the bike 2 wheels at a time off the ground.
And if Gomez is struggling, and he did, he tried to ghost ride it to the top, and his reward there, maybe he moved it 6-7 feet further up the trail. Now he has to pick the bike up. And if Gomez is struggling to that degree, Ron, what is it going to be like when everyone else gets there?
He's going to chew up what little traction there is.
Okay.
And it's just going to get harder and harder.
For most of these riders, then, merely finishing is the goal. It's not really a race against time, clock, or the other riders. It's just a battle for themselves to make it. Here's another attempt at the steep uphill. Gersten.
He's doing pretty well considering how long Colton spent on that same hill.
That's right.
Now, if he can make up a little bit of time, maybe he can catch Colton.
This is Gomez. He's to the top of the hill, and now he's just trying to get some energy back. Literally trying to catch his breath after having to force that bike to the top of the hill.
He's not used to this kind of heat. he's got to be suffering horribly right now.
This section a little bit easier, so that'll help him get his breath back also. But yeah, it is a physical, mental, and of course mechanical test for the riders and their machines. Oh, Gersten now stuck.
Oh, he's so close, though.
Yes.
When you're that close to the top, you don't want to give up.
How are the rules here with these officials? They're watching. Can they assist?
Only other riders can assist riders.
I see.
There's no, at this point, Max doesn't want to probably get help from another rider because then he would have a debt he'd have to repay.
Yeah, the very elite, they believe they can do these sections themselves. As we get deeper into the pack, you'll see riders begin to work together. This is Hart, who is close right up on Gersten. They were close in the tire mountain. Hart must have made up some ground on this hill, and he's trying to make up more.
Yeah, I think he's got a good line there.
Got it. So the uphill definitely working in the favor of Hart, who's making a late charge for the podium. Other riders stuck on the tire mountain.
This is going to be the end of the road for some of these guys. For others, though, they'll get up, they'll regroup, and get back on the course.
Grayson Gonsalves to the steep uphill. And this is where it usually comes undone. And it has for Gonsalves.
Oh, here's a tough situation when you have another rider starting up when he knows the trail's blocked up ahead.
Yep. Well, they pick different lines, so they don't have to worry about each other. Let's see if either line actually works, though. Gonsalves on the Sherco. Okay, he got through the first part, but there's more climbing yet to go.
Gonsalves, one of the riders that did Erzberg last week, so he's got some miles in his legs right now.
Yeah, that's perhaps the most difficult event of all. So to race that one weekend and then come here 7 days later, a true test for these riders. Jacob Argybright. Oh, immediately sideways and down on that hill.
That shows you how steep it is. It's hard for him to climb back up to the bike after he loses it.
Yeah, cameras never show you the true steepness up or down of a hill. This is almost vertical. If anyone's ever been to the Glen Helen motocross track, you know how big the hillsides around the track are. Hard to imagine that they've actually built a race where those hillsides are part of the track. Now into the rocks.
The SRT Rubicon was originally designed for truck races and 4x4 contests. It was kind of a natural to throw it in for the last dog standing.
Dalton Shirey trying to get to the top. And now the exhaustion kicks in. And now we're seeing riders working together. And the body language tells the story how tired these riders are. And if they use up that energy, they've got to use more to get through the Rubicon. Hager picking his way through. He's lost a lot of ground to your leader. Gomez, Gersten, is into one of these canyon sections.
Gersten's still very much in the running in this thing. He hasn't quite lost the scent of the two Husqvarnas up front.
Are the riders stuck? Zach Spano still in good spirits. He's waving at us. But the only person that can help him is either himself or he's got to hope another rider gets stuck and they begin to work together. Doing it solo at last dog standing is nearly impossible for most of these riders.
One of the cool things about Last Dog Standing is they mix amateurs with pros, which is kind of scary because you get to do things that you're not sure if you can do. I mean, you see other people do them, but you're not quite sure how fast to go, how slow to go. Teeter-totter here, it's intimidating. I mean, you look at that, it looks like I could go straight into the space if I go too fast. If I go too slow, I might just fall over. So, try and find the right speed. I don't quite know what the right speed is. Find out here. I think that may have been a little too fast, but it was scary enough. I think I think I'm going to say I did it, and I'm proud of that.
Hey, good job, Ron. This is one of the more fun sections, that teeter-totter down near the finish line area. But it's amazing when you have to link all these sections together, as these riders are doing here at Last Dog Standing. These logs are difficult enough. Let's throw some mud in between them to make it even harder.
Jason, they can see the end of the first loop right there, but then, you know, they've got to do it all over again.
So Alfredo Gomez is your leader. Up at the ridge here is David Camo. These ridges, one of the few areas where you can rest and try to get some energy back, because the majority of this track is pushing and pulling on the motorcycle, which is about as difficult a physical test as there can be. Colton Haker led this race at the beginning. Gomez was able to get by him, but Gomez having some problems now.
Well, that was an interesting maneuver in itself.
Yeah, nice. What makes this so tough? Obviously the water, but you've been talking about the angles of trying to hit those logs straight on is very tough.
It's all about the space between those logs. If it's less than the wheelbase of the motorcycle, you're in trouble.
Tristan Hart, the Canadian, coming through. He's in the running for a podium finish today. He's really been strong in the second half of this race. Gomez is still fighting his way through these logs.
These logs, they're just sadistic with the mud between them, and it kills the traction, and it's right there at the end of the lap.
Well, he could be home free now. There's a teeter-totter, but you have the Caselli finish line pipes. Let's listen in Gomez at the end of this lap.
No, we don't need.
Okay, you want water anywhere?
Yeah, throw me. Oh, vas bien. Dame de beber. ¿No tienes más?
Oh, it is a struggle physically, and it is hot out here. Temperature's nearly 100 degrees. Other riders are stuck on these logs. They will do 2 laps. So he is halfway through. Haker is stuck. Hart is trying to get around him. Haker over the log.
This is one of those slow motion battles again for place.
Now Gomez over the Caselli finish line pipes. They had some wood between those pipes to make it easier earlier today, but here at, they call it LD3, Last Dog Standing 3, whoa! Haker jumped right over the side of the teeter-totter and is going straight to the pipes and not resting with his crew.
Now he's trying to burn his tire a little bit to get the moisture off of it from that earlier water.
And making it over the finish line pipes without incident. And Haker not taking a break shows you he's still determined to make up ground on your leader, Gomez. And Hart is also. And other riders are still stuck on this hill. Will Riordan is one of them. James Flynn looks good early, but once you have to file in into the one line that there is, nothing you can do. You're just going to have to wait. Haker. I'm pretty impressed that Haker's got enough energy left to try to make ground up. At this point, you think the riders are in survival mode, but I think he still thinks he can win it.
Yeah, he definitely can. It's just past the halfway point here. Anything can happen. There's so much out there. There's so many bad things that can happen to a rider and a motorcycle out on that course. Everything's still up in the air.
Yeah, so if Gomez gets stuck, loses a minute or two here or there, it's going to allow Haker to get right back in it. So the American not giving up. But right now, Gomez out of Spain, continuing to lead onto the second and final lap of this track. Hart, who was right there in a battle with Haker for second, has lost a lot of that ground and trying to get it back now as he heads down the stairs, away from the bridge, and onto the off-road section. Here's Haker. Still going pretty good, not quite as intense as it would have been at the beginning of this race because all of these riders are spent. Will Riordan is still trying to get up this mountain.
Jason, I think he's fighting up inch by inch because he doesn't want to turn around and go back down.
Gersten was right there up front early. He is definitely struggling now through these logs with the water in between. Has lost a lot of ground to Hart.
Okay.
Gonsalves gonna make a pass.
There's bar-to-bar racing right there.
Yeah, just some of the slowest racing you'll ever see because it's some of the toughest racing that you'll ever see. I guess we could say Gersten passed Gonsalves back over these logs. There's more water than we saw earlier today. That makes it that much tougher. Back with our leader, Gomez.
Now fatigue really taking its toll on these guys. You have some of the fittest athletes in the world, but they're hitting these things, these obstacles, back to back to back, one thing after another. There's no time to rest. because it's still a race. I mean, they've got to worry about the guy catching him that's behind him.
Gersten has mercifully gotten through those logs. Now he has to get over these finish line pipes. He's trying to dry the tire out as well. And all he gets for this is a whole nother lap around this course. And Gersten clears it. So good job by Max. Back to the hill. James Flynn, who was charging up it, now has gotten stuck also.
Every time a bike goes up that, it makes the rut just a little bit deeper and makes it that much harder on the guys that follow.
To the tire mountain is our leader, Gomez. If he can get up this quickly, it could be head for home and wrap this thing up. But that's a very big if. The Kenda Tire Mountain might be the most difficult section of this entire track.
So this is the last obstacle at the end of LDS2 and LDS3. If you make it this far, you're pretty thrilled with yourself. So you're probably not as scared as I am right now. And it is really intimidating. I mean, it's scary, even if you've done it before. The little pallets in between, that's only for LDS2. They take that out for the final. You really don't know what it's going to be like until you do it. So here I go. Okay, this is scary. Okay, I'm still scared.
How was it?
That was scary. I can't imagine if they don't have the pallets in between the little sections.
How do you even do it?
You have to stop and balance on top of each one and then pop the wheel over. So you have to have the ability to just stop no matter what speed you're going and then hop. And
Like
it's
trials it over.
way beyond my skill set.
Well, don't feel bad, Ron. It's way beyond the skill set of most. This is Last Dog Standing, presented by Kenda. Some of the best off-road motorcycle racers in the world are struggling on this very extreme course, and that includes Colton Haker, who led this race at the beginning. He's made his way to the top of the Kenda Tire Mountain and is trying to track down this rider, the leader, Alfredo Gomez. This uphill, nearly vertical. Every rider has gotten stuck at some point, and even the leader now is trapped. Tristan Hart, who's running third, is trying to make it to the top of the tires.
I don't think Tristan's out of it yet. When he gets to these obstacles, he can still see a little bit of dust hanging in the air from the two Huskies in front of him. He knows he can get on the podium, maybe even better.
Hart was right there with Haker at one point as they were fighting their way over some logs. Haker has pulled back away. Gomez has gotten through the first half of that hill climb, and it is so hot. Look, people pouring water on him to help cool him down. Will Riordan is stuck in the Rubicon rocks. See if he can get through. And it's one thing to push and pull a motorcycle. It's difficult enough. But now, late in the game, these riders have done it time and time again. It's very hot out. They have got to be completely exhausted. Get the idea of the gap. Remember, Gomez just got up this hill, and Haker is now there. This was really tough on Colton the first lap, and it is again on lap 2.
Yeah, he's looking around. There's got to be a better line, but he can't waste much time because there are guys coming. These guys aren't far behind. They're still on the logs, but that's only a short distance to that hill that Colton's on.
Rich Larson fighting his way through the logs. And the water there that'll drag over the logs, that makes them even slicker. And this is just torture at this point. From here, the riders can see the finish, but it is a 2-lap event. But there will be some that will elect not even to try the second lap. They'll just be too exhausted. Haker getting it going again. Can the man of the Rockstar Husqvarna make it? He does. Oh, Rich Larson. Oh.
This is what happens when you don't do that just perfectly. This is truly one of the most treacherous sections.
Oh, that's like nails on the chalkboard as you hear the motorcycle scrape up against the concrete. hill climb for Hart. Ooh, that was one of the best we've seen. Well, that's going to help Hart make some ground back up on Haker. That hill climb has led to Haker's undoing. Lost ground on both laps. Back on board with the leader, Gomez. Morgan Tanky, the female, still at it. Good for her. Never seen a female even qualify for the final leg of this event, and she's still fighting.
She's doing well. Look at that. She's doing great.
Yeah. That's actually one of the best performances we've seen on that hill climb. Good job, Morgan.
She better get her goggles back on. There's a lot of dust and branches to follow.
Yep. Larson is still fighting that. Oh, and it's happened again. Well, now we know why it was so scary for you to do it, even with the wood in between, and now we've taken it out, and it is nearly impossible. We've seen James Flynn a lot in this race. Just trying to trudge his way through each section. David Camo now getting by.
Now, if you make it this far, you've seen it all. You've proven that you can make it around that whole course. So that second lap, I mean, that'd be great to do it, but to make it this far already marks you as one of the elite riders in the whole world.
Well, a lot of times you're down to single digits of the amount of riders that will actually finish the 2 laps of this event. Max Gersten's stuck on the hill. Jacob Argebright has gotten through. Good job by Jacob. And it's time for lap 2. And you see a lot of the riders with the goggles off just because it is so hot out here. They're trying to get any ventilation that they can. Gomez through the rocks. It's your race leader. And it's big, by the way, for this event to have the Spaniard compete. And he's living up to his billing. Other riders still struggling.
Yeah, you see a lot of the riders with their goggles off at this point. The reason they've pulled them off is because they've steamed up. And then once you take them off, they actually get dirty on the inside. But they really should get them back on because it's all about brush that can damage your eyes, not just dust.
Ty Cullens was up front early, lost some ground, is trying to get it back. Going to make the pass on Flynn over those big tubes. Gonsalves headed up the mountain. This is Extreme Enduro. There's only one goal. Just get to the finish. And right now, the big obstacle is making it to the top of the mountain. Stay with us. So Last Dog Standing presented by Kenda, AOMC, Prairie Dogs MC, helping put this event on. Alfredo Gomez has led the majority of this race, wrestled the lead away from Colton Haker, and it appears that he is one obstacle away from winning it and living up to his billing as one of the best extreme enduro riders in the world. But this is not easy. But he makes it look that way, and Gomez has done it. He wins Last Dog Standing.
Congratulations, guys. Thank you. Gracias.
Well, I don't know what feels better, winning or knowing you're finally done and you can begin resting, because this is a workout of the highest order and these other riders showing you how tough it can be. And by the way, look how much oil and water and everything else these bikes have left on top of these pipes.
Now, just because the leader is finished, that doesn't mean racing stops. There's a lot of action still happening out on the course.
Haker over the logs, trying to bring it home in second. Oh no, he dropped it in the water. Oh, that could be fatal for the motorcycle. Tristan Hart never gave up. He made up a lot of ground on the mountain. He's gonna make the move, perhaps for second, with the finish line in sight. But now Hart is stuck.
And you see Dustin McCarthy in there with them. He's on his previous lap.
And I think the motorcycle might be done for Haker because he dropped it in the water. Meanwhile, your leader, oh, he is exhausted. And there it is. Hart has gotten around Haker. I'm not even sure if Haker is going to be able to get back in this. So the persistence of Tristan Hart in the final section, taking second away.
And there's Dustin teaming up with Colton now, trying to get the bike drained out so they can light it up again.
So they got to try to pump the water out. Oh man, for this to happen after all this riding when you can see the finish line. But if you drop the bike in the water, yep, air filter will get soaked with water and then the bike won't run. Hart, though, still has to get over those pipes to officially be second place in this event. Max Gersten through the SRT Rubicon.
Now, they do use a two-moto format for this event, so even though Colton no longer has a chance of finishing second in this second round of the day, he can still get second overall if he can make it to the finish.
We'll average those scores together. Excellent job by Tristan Hart, showing some real, yes, I should say, heart down the stretch to close up on Haker and get second in this one. Gonsalves picking his way through the Rubicon.
I wonder if he'd rather be sitting on the beach in Maui right now.
No, it's not another day in paradise, no doubt about it. Wow, they got Haker's bike back running. And they applaud the effort.
There's that weird line again. It's got to be even scarier. I don't know about that.
Jumping off the side. All right, so Colton Haker going to try to dry the tire. He's just got to get over these pipes. I mean, believe he might be second overall if this averages out. At least a podium finish for sure. Oh, nice job by Haker, and there it is. Rider out of California coming through. Max Gersten will be next. Takes the more traditional approach to the teeter-totter. Oh, these riders are so tired now. Well, you can see what separates the elite from everyone else at this event. To just be able to wheelie between them. He is one obstacle away from the finish line.
And he's trying to dry off his tire right now because that next pop is going to be tough.
Got it. Great job by Max Gersten. Brings it home. And Gonsalves through the water. A little stoppy for style as he heads to the finish line.
I like that, finishing with style.
Yeah, and that is it for this one. Gomez, Hart, Haker, Gersten, and Gonsalves, and those are the only 5 riders that completed the 2 laps here. That's the best example of all of how tough this truly is. 5 riders, that's it.
There have been years where there's even been fewer than that, so you got to hand it to these 5 guys. They're now ranked among the elite in the whole world.
I came here because the organizers invite me to come over, and I asked Husky if I can make it, and they support me, so I'm here. Like in every race I've been part of it, I try to do my best and win if it's possible. So today was a good day. Winning is always good, and I'm very happy to be here and thankful for the people who helped me.
I had quite the battle. Alfredo and I kind of battled it out in the beginning, but I made some pretty costly errors. I went completely off the trail in an easy section and went like 20 feet down off the trail into a canyon. I was like stuck in the bushes. And then at the finish line, there's the water pit with logs, and we rode it a couple of times today. And my front end went right into a hole that had been made from other riders spinning out. And my front tire's stuck. I'm trying to get traction. I'm trying to lift it out of the hole, but I just can't. So I'm about, all right, I'm gonna swing the back end over. And I thought the front would maybe go a little bit when I swung it over, but it didn't. I just toppled over upside down into the water. Pulled water into the air box, pulled water into the cylinder. It took a couple minutes to get all the water out and get it going. And then I finished with no air filter and no cover. So Husqvarna's, man, they're tough. Tough as nails. You should go buy one.
I think all the riders are sick in some capacity to want to even do this. I don't know what's fun about it, but certainly a big sense of accomplishment to make it to the finish line.
Yeah, we had 5 official finishers, but just making it into this event required a huge commitment and a lot of skill. Still, my hat's off to Gomez. That was an incredible ride, and he did a spectacular job.
Yeah, and we'll see. Gomez coming in. That's got to take the event to another level to get an international star like that.
I think so. He gives it an international dimension, and I think raises the bar for all the Americans that are here. I'm not sure if he wants to come back, but we'll see. I hope he does.
There's probably no one right now saying they want to come back, but they'll have 50-some weeks to sort all that out, rest up, heal up, and then say, hey, maybe I'll tackle this one again. For Ron Lawson, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for watching. Last dog standing, and congrats to our winner, the Spaniard, Alfredo Gomez.